At the T-minus 3-minute mark, tape recorders on board the spacecraft were turned on. These recorders record both voice and data. Now building up to 7.7 million pounds of thrust. And we have a liftoff. Moving back. The Saturn V lifting off of Alpha pad.
You just heard Robin Gottfried, a song, and before that we had Nina's Brew in the studio. What an incredible performance. So glad to have them. Next up we have Alex Smith. Alex, welcome to the studio. Welcome to the Radiator.
Thanks for having me.
Anybody listening in, this is 105.9. We really appreciate you tuning in and listening to us. Alex is going to share a tune with us, and then we're going to share a whole lot of information and a whole lot of stories. So, Alex, get right into it whenever you're ready.
Sounds good. We'll do some new stuff for you guys.
Great.
This is a song called Messina. I go to work in the dark, and I come home in the dark. Brush my teeth and walk around quiet, so I don't wake my children up. I've been driving this road so long, I can't imagine it could find its way on its own. I've been smelting aluminum at Alcoa West since I was 21. I could have stayed in the Corps like my brother and my daddy did before. I was a good Marine, but I didn't like the South. Couldn't find my place in a bullshit war. So I went home like you do when you can't think of nowhere better to go. Seaway had ships stopping by back then, and it was home. Oh, Messina, I don't believe I'm not a waste of time. Oh, Messina, I don't want to believe I'm going to waste my time. It was parts of planes for the Great War. For me it was F-150s and cell phones. Things that really mattered and things that got used, being made near my home. Felt like we were part of something, and we were. We made this country run. Kids didn't grow up seeing my hometown as just somewhere to go get away from. Oh, Messina, I don't believe it, not a waste of time. Oh, Messina, I don't want to believe I'm going to waste my time. Going to waste my time. To get dressed up on Fridays, go downtown and catch a show. I was here when we got a Pizza Hut, and I ain't gonna be here to see it go. Tell me I got 3 more years, 3 more years till my kids gotta switch school. I'm just not sure there's a living to be made around here no more, if you wanna call your hands your tools. I don't believe me, not a waste of time. Oh, Messina, I don't want to believe I'm going to waste my time. Oh, Messina, you're not a waste of time. Oh, Messina, hope you didn't waste my time.
Lovely. Alex Smith is in the studio on 105.9. Alex, thank you so much for sharing that tune with us. Am it safe to assume that's an ode to a hometown?
Not my hometown, no. I wrote a whole album full of odes to my hometown and had to move on to other towns.
Right, right.
That's a song about Messina, New York, which is an area like right across from sort of Cornwall, Ontario, up on the river. The sort of one-time aluminum smelting capital of the region. That's a whole long story.
Right, yeah. I've never been to
The
Messina.
Detroit of Northern New York.
Oh, nice. I can't say I've ever been to Messina, New York, but you honestly took me home back to Pennsylvania with that track, with the beautiful folk music and with the kind of like the sentiments of that lost like hometown feeling and things changing and not knowing how to fit into that.
Yeah.
Beautiful track. I really love that. Is that on your newest album, the double album?
I put that on Live from Cafe Lena. Yep, that's the new live record, and then that's going to be on a studio album that's coming out this fall.
Awesome.
Well, tentatively titled Hard Saying, but I should stop telling people what the tentative titles are, because I've told people like 7 different tentative titles, and 6 of them are gone. So.
Well, I appreciate it, and I certainly look forward to that newest album. And I want to take it back because you've had a go at it, and first release being in 2013, live with Dylan Rice. And upon research, I found Dylan Rice is actually your cousin. What can you tell me about that relationship between? Because I mean, you're both incredible musicians, according to that record. So, what can you say about working with him?
So that was really cool. Like you mentioned, he's my cousin, and we didn't actually know each other that well before we started going on tour together. I knew it's actually a really funny story how we got together. I thought that he played mandolin, and I could have swore that I'd heard that from family members and stuff. So I called him up and asked him if he would play mandolin on this tour, and he said yes. And one might assume that meant that he did play mandolin, but that just meant that he figured he could learn mandolin by the time the tour rolled around. And fortunately, he's the kind of musician who can. So he showed up, didn't have a mandolin, asked me how to tune the one I handed to him, and off we went. And played like 35 shows in the next 40 nights. And,
oh my gosh!
That was the start of me being on the road in general, and as well as the two of us playing together. We cut that live album right at the end of that tour.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been at the end if that's the story. I mean, that's a great recording.
He's a pretty good picker.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. And are you on the mandolin too sometimes?
No. I had a mandolin kind of by accident. I got it for cheap in a garage sale. And it's a good thing I did, as it turned out, because I didn't know I was supplying them for the band. But.
Yeah, absolutely. And that recording actually was in Spring City, Pennsylvania, which is only about 2 hours from my hometown.
No kidding.
Very odd. Imagine if I had randomly stumbled upon that. Who knows how?
You would have been one of the very few, I promise you that. That was a pretty...
Well,
that was like during... it was during some hurricane that you guys were getting dumped on. It was Sandy, I
Hurricane
guess.
Sandy, in 2013.
Power was going on and off and all that. That was a trip. Yeah.
Man. Well, I want to take it back a little farther, too. What can you tell me about this title I found, Alex Smith and the Mountain Sound?
Yeah, so that was a band that was myself, Dylan Rice, my cousin that we were talking about, and then a fiddler named Jake Brillhart, who's a guy that I still play with an awful lot. Who's a Vermont guy, actually. He's from West Topsom, which is kind of near St. Johnsbury.
Okay.
Very good Cape Breton style fiddler, and that was the three of us. We toured together for quite a long time. I guess quite a long time in the scope of like my career, which is not that long. So, we did 4 or 5 years together.
Well, longer than most we've had on the station, honestly. I mean, Nina's Brew, we all just heard them. They've only been together for a year. I told them I found it unbelievable.
They're going to be a force. They are a force.
Yeah. So I like that name, too, Alex Smith and the Mountain Sound. That's a beautiful name.
Thank you.
It is very fitting. Why don't we get into another tune and get a little more of that Alex Smith sound?
You got it. This is a song called Trophy Places. Give me a wide open spaces, not a boot track or tread, marquee and sign.
spaces, trophy places. There's a storm blowing in, the air hangs heavy in my lungs. Pretty soon the sun's gonna sink below the pines. It's not molded, it's not mine. I'm a stranger, an invader, I'm a calculator, boy, I'm just pretending. Oh, I'm just pretending. Give me a wide open spaces, not a boot track or trail, marking sign. To last another day. Give me wide open spaces, not a boot track or trail, marking sign. Give me wild, forgotten spaces, trophy places. Trophy places. There's a storm blowing in, the air hangs heavy in my lungs. Pretty soon the sun's gonna sink below the pines. It's not molded, it's not mine.
Alex Smith live in the studio with the voice and guitar sound certainly taking us to those wide open spaces. I love the songs. I can't wait to listen to the recorded music online further.
Cool,
I only
man.
got through that 2013 album with you and your cousin, but I'm going to get through it all eventually. And now seems like a perfect time to mention that this show is brought to you in part by New England Imported Rug Gallery, Vermont's largest source of authentic hand-knotted oriental carpets from across the globe. Family owned and operated for 30 years, located in Shelburne Road in South Burlington. Visit neimportedrugs.com. On that note, Alex, another question for you. I know you've worked with kids, workshops,
Yeah.
lessons, interactive exercises. What can you tell me about how you got involved with that, what it's like, and what have you learned from working with kids?
Man, that's become such a fun part of my my year these days. I started doing that about, God, I guess it was 3 years ago. A school. So I'm from the middle of the Adirondacks, town called Long Lake.
Okay.
And a lot of the schools around there have an Adirondack Week or a Heritage Week or something like that, where they bring in people and you talk about traditional industry in the area and the history of the towns. And I got asked to do Indian Lakes Heritage Week a few years back, and we were writing songs with kind of kindergarten up through fifth graders. And I thought it was a lot of fun, sort of using songwriting to talk about the history of our home. I had a blast with it, and then shortly thereafter was asked to be the workshop leader at the Champlain Young Writers Conference here in town. Had a ball doing that, and that just kind of spiraled into me trying to get as much of that work as I can. Frankly, A, I really like it, and B, it sort of jogs my own songwriting itch, because I get around a lot of people who are pumped to write a song, and it keeps me interested to go back and sit down with my notepad and get working on stuff myself. But then C, it's a gig that isn't taking me out till midnight.
Right.
And the more I try to make a a job out of this, the more I value nights that I'm not driving home at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So that's really nice. It's nice to have some variety in the,
Yeah, and
in
I'm
the
sure
work
that
day, work week.
those like young eyes looking up at you on the stage is certainly a different feeling than, and certainly a different impression than you might get from somewhere else where they'd come and pay to see you. And
Totally.
I'm sure that must be a refreshing feel.
Yeah.
To
And it's
have
really
that-
rewarding. It's cool. I never thought I would be, working with kids at all. I didn't think I would be taken down that path in any way, but I've really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Well, we're glad that you're sharing the love of music with them. And I want to mention again that you have that recent release. It's a double album. Can you tell us where and how that was recorded? And not necessarily how. I don't need to know about the cables and microphones you used or anything, but can you tell us a little bit about how that came together? And
Yeah, so there's a venue down in Saratoga Springs, New York called Cafe Lena, which was it's kind of the first bigger venue that I ever played. I opened for a guy named Chris Shaw, who was another Adirondack songwriter from there about 4 years ago. And it's been a favorite room of mine ever since. It's just a beautiful sounding room and a real historic place with a lot of great acts through there. And it seemed like a kind of a natural place to do a live recording. It was my favorite sounding room, and I figured it was one that was enough in my home region that I could fill it up and have a good release show kind of thing. So we did that about a year ago now. Or it's getting to be a year and a half now. A while back, but yeah, it was cool. It was stone cold solo too, which is something that I hadn't done on any of my albums before. I'd always had a band with me, and I'd often have people coming up after shows and wanting something that sounded like what they just heard, and I figured it would probably be a good idea to be able to provide them with that.
yeah.
So that's how that kind of came to be. Yeah.
Awesome.
It was a
Well,
lot of fun.
it's incredible. I recommend everybody check it out. And correct me if I'm wrong, AlexSmithLongLakeMusic.com?
Yep. Yeah, it's a little clunky, but it turns out there's a lot of Alex Smiths out there doing
Hey.
website-worthy stuff.
Yeah, and giving a shout out to the hometown is never a bad idea,
Yeah.
that's for sure. I'm sure that they would appreciate that. If you-
Differentiates me from the Washington Redskins quarterback, which is what you find when you look
Oh,
up Alex
yeah.
Smith online.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Well, we're going to get another song out of you if we can while we have you here on 105.9. And I know you've got some upcoming shows. This upcoming Thursday after this next is Radio Bean on the 28th. Have you performed there before?
Yep, yeah, that's been a almost monthly thing for years now.
Nice.
Go back there pretty regularly. And if you happen to be in Ellsworth, Maine Friday night, come on out. And
Yeah, if you're listening
got a
from
bunch of
you
Maine
heard it
stuff
here.
coming in between now and then. But
Nice. And I know that by September you're going to be in Colorado. Have you traveled to the West Coast for music thus far?
Yeah, or never to the West Coast, but I've been to Colorado 3 times now.
I guess that's
was
just the
out
West
there.
Coast to me.
Yeah, it might as well be in my book. That's as far as I've ever gone. But I was out there this past winter doing a songwriting thing with the CU Boulder students, and a couple shows around there. And I've done that, 3 times now. It's been a lot of fun. That's a cool area.
Yeah, nice. I've
Like
heard it's
quite a bit.
beautiful, and September will probably be a nice time before it gets too cold.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure you'll be up in the mountains and enjoying the weather out there.
Yep.
And then after that, I mean, later on, you've got the Bradford Summer Street Music Series. We're glad to hear that you're a part of that too.
Yeah. That's a cool thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's we're all looking forward to that. Anybody near Bradford and anybody listening in, check it out, Bradford Summer Street Music Series. And why don't we go right into another song if we may?
You got it.
Awesome.
This is one called Fuel Air Compression Spark. All the things required to make a motor work for to boil it down to the simplest things. Which basically ends up being what the music industry runs on at the end of the day.
Drive 500 miles on the interstate highway, play my songs and I go home. Home wherever I can find to go. Stay with some friends I don't really know no more. They gotta work in the morning. Feels wrong to sleeping when they're getting up. So I get coffee and drag my feet out the door. I need fuel, I need air, I need compression, I need a spark. Oh, light me up. me up, keep the white line on the right. It's just us and the big rigs out this God-forsaken time of night. Everyone I meet wants to know the same thing. How can you ever make it pay? My answer's always the same. You gotta play, you gotta play, you gotta play. Every day. You need fuel, you need air, you need compression, oh, you need a spark. Keep your eye on the next show and don't live outside your heart. You need fuel, you need air, you need compression, oh, you need a spark. Oh, light me up. Well, the road killed half my heroes, the rest that drove back to the couch. Those that made it 20 years had to find a way to slow it down. Comes a time when all you know how to do is sing. But you're dreaming if you don't think Danko to change the thing. Stay on the road if you can. Write your mama a note on the weeks you can't call. And write every night. Catch all the years you can, that's the point. It ain't the open tab, and it ain't nothing in the middle of the night. It ain't nothing in the middle of the night. The songs will fuel the roads, the air, constant compression, always waiting on the spark. Taking every call that comes, even when you're done dreaming you can make a mark. It's the fuel, it's the air, it's the compression, the feeling when you finally see the spark. And the song comes out running and you follow it into the dark. Oh, light me up. Stay on the road if you can. Write your mama a note on the weeks you can't call.
What an incredible and creative tune from Alex Smith in the studio. Thank you so much for sharing that one with us.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here. It's been an incredible night of music, truly. I'm glad that you were here to hang around for Nina's Brew. I'm glad that anybody watching on our 360 video was able to catch you hanging out and enjoying it.
It was a blast. I went to college with Mike.
Oh, no way.
We had no idea. We play together all the time. I had no idea that he was here tonight.
Oh my gosh, what a run-in. I love
I've
that.
been waiting to hear those guys all this time, so this was very convenient.
Yeah, well, I'll be certainly catching them. I think they're 2 days after you. They'll be at Radio Bean as well.
Cool.
So I'm gonna catch both of those for sure. So you can see Alex Smith on the next Thursday on the 28th at Radio Bean, and then Nina's Brew is gonna be there on the 30th. So you might as well just sleep over. I don't know. They got couches. I don't know.
All roads lead through the Bean, man.
Yeah, I mean everybody's stopping in there. Well, we thank you so much for being here. We thank BCA Community Fund for all they do. Burlington City Arts. We thank everybody who's a part of Big Heavy World and 105.9, all the DJs, and Ian Steinberg over here on the mixing board doing a great job tonight. And thank you to Nina's Brew. Thank you, Alex Smith. Check out Alex Smith, longlake.music.com for his great tracks and his great new double album from the live recording. And other than that, have a great night wherever you may be. Tomorrow is Make Music Day across this whole wide world. Get out there, make music. It's all about sharing free music with one another. It's all about just bringing it together and putting it out there. We all love it. We all need it. We all play it. Make Music Day. Thank you, everyone.